Okay, about pfSense, you may know that the official webpage related to pfSense, as you can see the link here, pfSense.org, the official website, and you may get more information from here about virtual appliances and solutions, enterprise open source solutions, and product support and professional services and training. But what is important is that you should consider that you can protect your network with pfSense firewall and with, I should say that with different solutions that we have. As you can see here, we have cloud capabilities. It means that you can obviously install pfSense in your cloud if you're using Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure. Obviously, as a virtual machine, you can install pfSense and have a sort of firewall configuration, VPN configuration, NAT configuration, and any type of capabilities related to security that pfSense can support in a virtualized environments, mostly on cloud. Or if you have a dedicated server and you install Hyper-V or Citrix Zen server or VMware ES6i, obviously you can install a virtual machine, okay, and have a configuration for network and firewall to be so that you can obviously configure pfSense as a router, to have NAT configuration, to have security configurations as a DHCP server, VPN service, and like that. But we have other options, as you can see here. Netgate pfSense security gateway appliances. As you can see here, we have different models for small office, branch office, and imagine that small businesses, okay, or for medium to large enterprise businesses, okay. And depending on processor, as you can see here, how much memory it's going to consume for the configurations and traffic, and depending on the ports that we have, imagine that you have 1 gigabyte of 1 gigabyte of traffic, or you have obviously more than one interface, okay, on these different hardware devices that we have. But obviously when you have too much traffic in your network, imagine that you're going to have more than 1 gigabyte of traffic, 10 gigabyte of traffic. Obviously you should consider an advanced hardware enterprise, the device appliance, hardware appliance, to have pfSense, okay, in your network as a firewall, because you have too much traffic in your network and routing happens, firewalling happens. Maybe you have VPN configurations, NAT configurations, and IPsec configurations, and like that. So as you can see here, different appliances and products we have here for medium business, large business, as you can see here, depending on the scenarios that we have, and more resources. But you may get more information from the link here, okay, about the feature considerations and in large scale networks, and if you have too much traffic, what you should consider. But for minimum requirements, obviously we can install it in a lab with just one virtual CPU, 1 gigabyte of memory, and test everything, okay. But another important thing is that you should consider CPU selection, which is very important, because if you have, imagine that you have around 20 megabits megabits per second traffic, okay, that's another story. If you have 100 megabit per second, it's recommended modern 1 gigahertz Intel or AMD CPU. If you have more than that, imagine that between 100 to 500 megabits per second, obviously we should consider another type of CPU, Intel or AMD. And more than 500 megabit per second, around 1 gigabit per second or 10 gigabit per second, obviously you should consider even more appliances, more hardware devices with 10 gigabit per second interfaces, which is very important to consider. Okay, you can check the URL link as you can see here. And about pfSense, you may get more information about pfSense Plus, okay, because with pfSense Plus, obviously we have pricing, okay, for Gate appliance and cloud and software. As you can see here, the pricing is obviously different. If you're going to have an experience on pfSense Plus, that's another story. But if you're not going to have imagine that you're not going to have special support and configuration in your network, you can obviously install pfSense. It's open source and free, and without you don't need to consider the cost for that, just hardware resources, okay, like that. And about pfSense services and more information on the official website, as you can see here. But what is important is that when you are going to download latest stable version, okay, of pfSense, from the link as you can see here, pfSense.org download, from here you can download and just select your architecture, okay. Imagine that you're going to install, you can consider as a virtual machine, you can consider AMD 64-bit and installer DVD image ISO file, okay, you can download from here. And after that you can extract it, and as a ISO image you can install it on your virtual environments. But there are more information from here, you can check the information, okay. But another important thing is that if you're going to test in your personal lab, you can install workstation player, VMware workstation player, and which is obviously free. And this is another option that you have if you're going to test pfSense, okay. Download VMware workstation player on Windows operating system, Linux or Mac operating system, or Oracle virtual box. You know that it's free too, and you can obviously install it, and after that you can have a virtual machine, pfSense virtual machine, and have configuration on your pfSense virtual machine to see that how different services works and how we can have different configurations.